In the quiet town of Elkhart, Indiana, a story unfolded that gripped the heart of the community, casting a long shadow over the esteemed halls of Jimtown High School. At the center of this storm was Michael Hosinski, a teacher with 4 decades of service, whose career ended in controversy and legal turmoil following a distressing incident caught on security cameras. This is the tale of a momentary lapse that forever altered lives and left a community grappling with its consequences. On a chilly day in late February, specifically the 25th, the corridors of Jimtown High School became the unlikely stage for a confrontation that would send shockwaves beyond its walls. Michael Hosinski, a now retired teacher, revered for his contributions to education, and once celebrated as Teacher of the Year in 2020, found himself at the heart of a storm that challenged the very ideals he had dedicated his life to uphold. For decades, Mr. Hosinski had been more than just a teacher. He was a mentor, a guide, and a source of inspiration for countless young minds navigating the complexities of adolescence and academic pursuit. His classroom was a sanctuary of learning, where students felt valued and understood. Parents trusted in his wisdom and his unwavering commitment to their children's growth, while the school faculty viewed him as a pillar of the educational community, someone whose passion and dedication to teaching were unmatched. The incident in question began innocuously enough, over a hooded sweatshirt worn by a student, a seemingly minor violation of school dress code policy that escalated beyond anyone's expectations. The school's strict stance against hoods, except on designated days, was well known, detailed in the student handbook for all to abide by. Yet, what transpired next was anything but routine. Captured with unyielding clarity by the school's security cameras, Hosinski, aged 61, is seen in a state of urgency, jogging down the hallway in pursuit of the student in question. With a determination that soon crossed the bounds of reason, he reached out, grabbing the student's backpack, an action that marked the point of no return. The exchange that followed was charged with tension, as Hosinski, pointing accusingly, struck the student across the face, a blow that sent the young individual's head crashing against the wall with a force that was both physical and symbolic. The aftermath of the hit was a scene of palpable distress. The student, grappling with the shock and the sting of the impact, cradled their head in one hand, a stark image of vulnerability in the face of authority gone awry. But the ordeal didn't end there. Hosinski, caught up in a moment of unbridled emotion, seized the student by the arm, an attempt to lead or perhaps drag them down the hallway, a gesture that only culminated in the student's fall to the ground as his head began to bleed and bruise. It was at this juncture that another adult, witnessing the scene unfold, stepped into the frame, prompting Hosinski to retreat from the situation he had instigated. This moment, frozen in time by the school's cameras, would become the catalyst for a legal and moral reckoning. In the critical moments that followed, the school's medical staff sprang into action, providing the necessary care to address the student's injuries. In the wake of the unsettling events that unfolded within the walls of Jimtown High School, Principal Timothy Pletcher found himself compelled to make a grave phone call to the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office. With a heavy heart, he reported a distressing incident. A respected educator at the institution had escalated a confrontation to physical violence, resulting in the injury of a student. The seriousness of the accusation, detailed in the court's documentation, underscored the gravity of the situation that had transpired under the school's watch. Responding to the call for intervention, a law enforcement officer arrived at the scene, stepping into a realm where education and safety had momentarily diverged. The officer's observations confirmed the alarming nature of the report. Upon examination, the student bore the physical marks of the encounter, an abrasion and a pronounced lump adorning his head, silent witnesses to the force exerted against him. The narrative the student shared with the officer painted a vivid picture of the events leading up to the injury. According to his account, Michael Hosinski, the teacher in question, had issued a directive that would set the stage for the ensuing altercation. Ordered to vacate the classroom, the student complied, unaware that the situation was about to escalate dramatically. It was in the hallway that the student felt the grip of Hosinski on his backpack. What followed was a swift, forceful strike across his face, a blow that propelled his head against the unforgiving brick wall of the hallway, as documented in the court's findings. The physical aftermath of the encounter was not just visibly, but painfully acute. The student recounted the immediate sensation of throbbing pain that enveloped his head, illustrating the severity of the impact. Further adding to his distress were the manifestations of injury that could not be ignored. A nose bleeding profusely and lips swollen and broken, painting a stark portrait of the encounter's violence. This swift mobilization of support underscored the severity of the incident and the school's commitment to student welfare, as detailed in Superintendent Byron Sanders' release to the community. Amidst the unfolding of these events, Brian Heineman, the Deputy Director of Communications for the Indiana Department of Child Services, found himself constrained by the legal framework governing the department's operations. When approached by CNN for comment, his response highlighted the limitations imposed by Indiana's confidentiality laws, which strictly prohibit the disclosure of information related to departmental investigations. His words, conveyed via email, served as a reminder of the complex interplay between the pursuit of justice and the bounds of legal confidentiality, a balance that often challenges those seeking clarity and resolution in the aftermath of such troubling incidents. The reverberations of that day reached far beyond the confines of Jimtown High School. Hosinski, a figure once synonymous with educational excellence, found his legacy tarnished, his plans for a peaceful retirement marred by controversy. Less than 2 hours after the incident, he sought early retirement, a request that the Baugo Community School Board would grant, albeit under the shadow of the events that transpired. Superintendent Byron Sanders, in a letter to families, detailed the sequence of events, a narrative that left the community searching for answers and accountability. When news of the confrontation between Mr. Hosinski and a student broke, it sent shockwaves through the community. Disbelief and confusion permeated the halls of Jimtown High. How could a teacher, celebrated for his empathy and effectiveness, be involved in an incident so contrary to the values he exemplified? The narrative seemed to be a stark departure from the Mr. Hosinski known and loved by many. Whispers of speculation spread, with some suggesting that an unforeseen event in his life must have precipitated this uncharacteristic action. It was a search for understanding, a collective grappling with the complexity of human behavior under stress. The judicial system, swift in its response, saw fit to charge Hosinski with battery, deeming there was probable cause to believe he caused moderate injury, a level 6 felony. His arrest followed a thorough police investigation, leading to his release on a $2,500 bond. As the legal proceedings against Hosinski unfolded, the focus inevitably shifted to the well-being of the student at the center of this storm. The physical injuries, a visible abrasion and a lump on the head, were accompanied by a throbbing pain, showing just how violent the incident was. The emotional scars, however, promised to be more enduring, a silent reminder of the day when a simple hooded sweatshirt became the symbol of a much larger, more troubling discourse on authority, respect, and the sanctity of educational spaces. In response to the incident and the subsequent legal and professional repercussions faced by Mr. Hosinski, a remarkable movement took shape within the student body. United by a shared conviction in the goodness and fundamental value of their teacher, nearly 2,500 students came together in solidarity. Their mission was clear: to petition for the reinstatement of Mr. Hosinski, advocating not only for the preservation of his position, but also for the safeguarding of his pension and tenure. This initiative was a powerful show of the impact Mr. Hosinski had on his students, a reflection of their willingness to stand by him even in the midst of controversy. The petition, brimming with signatures, served as a manifestation of loyalty and affection from the students. It was a bold statement of their belief in redemption and understanding, underscored by a desire to see their teacher's legacy not marred by a single moment of lapse. In their eyes, Mr. Hosinski was more than the sum of his actions on that fateful day. He was a mentor who had shaped their lives in profound ways, and they could not stand idly by as his career and reputation teetered on the brink of collapse. A short while later, Mr. Hosinski was allowed to retire with his pension and full benefits, which would lead one to assume that the petition did its job. However, interesting to note is that according to state law, this teacher would have gotten his pension and benefits regardless of this incident, making the petition moot and pointless. He would have gotten his pension either way. Although there were many that supported Mr. Hosinski, there are also many who question how a teacher who struck a student still got his pension and benefits. Instead, many parents and community members said that the teacher should not only lose his pension, but also be in prison. Many are now left disillusioned with the judicial system. However, this is how it ends, with Mr. Hosinski retired and enjoying his pension, while the student and his family deal with the emotional fallout of the traumatic incident. In the aftermath, as the community grapples with the ramifications of that fateful day, the story of Michael Hosinski and the student he confronted serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of trust, the weight of responsibility, and the enduring quest for healing in the wake of adversity. We would love to have your opinions about this incident in the comment section below.